Well, today marks International Children's Day and the end of Child Protection Week in South Africa. In Mpumalanga, many families have no children to protect. The SABC spoke to families whose children have been abducted and some killed for Muti. This report from Sibongile Mkwani-Mpolweni and camera person Mzolisi Goqwana.
Overcome with grief and anger, her only child was abducted, raped and killed last week. 8-year-old Lerato Nkuta left home to buy bread at a spaza shop a few houses from her home. But instead of coming home, her body was dumped a day later not far from her home. Her mother says her daughter was not the first victim. This is Bawinile Khoza. She was kidnapped at her home while sleeping at night. Her body was later found with missing parts. The 11-year-old's grandmother was also sleeping in the same house. 3 men have since been arrested in connection with this case. In the same area, 2 teenage girls have been missing since last year. Mpumalanga Ramukoni was last seen being forced into a car by unidentified men near the taxi rank in October. She is yet to be found. Litabo Rachane left home in April saying her friends were calling her outside the gate. A year later, still no trace of her. Litabo's mother says Child Protection Week means nothing to her without her daughter. Here in Kriel, children from different daycare centers took to the street, demonstrating their unhappiness over what they labeled as an attack on children in Mpumalanga. The message was clear.
That is my body, my body, my body. That is my body, my body, my body. Don't touch my body, don't touch my body.
Sibongile Mkwani-Mpolweni, SABC News in Mpumalanga.
Right, staying in Mpumalanga, we cross now to Sibongile Mkwani-Mpolweni to find out more about the program for International Children's Day in that province. Sibongile, good to have you here on the program. Just give us a little bit of detail as to what's going to happen in Mpumalanga today.
Good morning, Leanne. Yes, we're coming to you live from a very cold and misty Siyabuswa. We are at Siyabusa Primary School, where we reported this week where an 8-year-old girl was abducted by 2 men at the gate while waiting for her transport. The Department of Community Safety in Mpumalanga, as well as the police in Mpumalanga, have identified this school, saying that there were other cases of child abuse with children happening here at the school, where another child was raped by a stepfather. That case is in and out of court. And there's another one of child neglect, where a child was neglected by the parents and the social workers had to take over. So they've come to this school this morning to talk to the learners and sort of caution them and teach them about their rights, and also teach them that they should not live with people that they do not know. We know that in this case of this week, that child knew the person, because it was reported that those 2 men called her by a name and asked her if she wanted a packet of chips. They bought her those chips and left with her. But they are here to talk to the pupils. It's a primary school, to try and caution them, to arm them, so to speak, as to what they should do with strangers, and they must not accept money from strangers, as we know that there's been a high number of child abductions and kidnapping here in Mpumalanga recently. Some are being kidnapped at home while sleeping with their parents. Some are being taken from schools, and police are saying that children are being targeted, especially at schools when they leave for school, and that the schools in themselves should be where they start to caution the pupils as well as the communities, Leanne.
All right, let's leave it there for now. We'll get an update from you a little bit later on in the program.